Welcome to our Wellness Wednesday Health Show. I'm your host, Dr. Carl Hewlett from the Back Pain and Joint Center of Texas, and we just finished our first ever TransMed Wellness Expo, and I was able to meet so many amazing people, and one of these amazing individuals is sitting right next to me. Now, before I introduce her, I want to tell you a little bit about how I connected with her. So at the expo, I was listening to Dr. Jody Caldwell, and when she was done speaking, we were visiting for a little bit, and she said, hey, you need to go downstairs and meet Mary Ann. She has some amazing things she's done with Marigold Foods. And she went on and on and on. And so I said, well, I must meet Mary Ann. And so in between speaking, I was able to go down there and connect with Mary Ann.
Yes.
And so I'm very, very excited to have her on our show today. Mary Ann of Marigold Foods, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hewlett.
Now, you have done something really, really cool. One thing that I love is that you're local.
Oh,
right?
yes. Willis. We're in Willis.
So kind of start with the journey of how you went from where you were to Marigold Foods.
Okay. Well, first off, I have to thank Dr. Caldwell too, because in 2002, after probably 30 years of being unhealthy, she finally discovered that I was very gluten intolerant and I had candida overgrowth. Took me off sugar, took me off of wheat, and I had become a vegan thinking I would become healthy and was just getting sicker. But Dr. Caldwell got me off of gluten and it just changed my life. And so I became passionate about telling other people about that. And so
so many people I think have gluten sensitivities, they just don't realize it. Either they haven't been tested, or you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
It's one of the reasons that we put all of our patients on a low inflammation diet. Just because we recommend being gluten-free for a period of time and sugar-free and reducing dairy, just because that can reduce the bad inflammation in the body. So you had some pretty amazing results.
I did, yes. I was telling Dr. Hewlett earlier, the doctors that I'd been going to wanted to give me antidepressants, and I didn't want antidepressants. I just wanted to feel better. And so Dr. Caldwell discovered that I was highly gluten intolerant and going off gluten, and I went off all grains, all sugars. I made a pretty drastic change, but within a month I felt so much better that it wasn't difficult for me to stick
within
to
a
it.
month window you saw results. So how many months or years were you in pain and depressed?
30.
So 30 years meeting with doctors.
Oh yeah.
And within a 1 month window of cutting out the gluten, those other sub-inflammatory things from your diet,
Correct.
Felt a difference.
Oh yeah, I was seeing internists, I was seeing gastroenterologists. First they thought I had Crohn's. I didn't have Crohn's, but they called it a spastic colon, but no one ever said anything about food, changing anything about what I was eating.
What if you're watching this right now, I hope you get the message that it's about finding the right healthcare professional. Because for 30 years, you were meeting with healthcare professionals, and they were, I'm sure, lovely people, committed to what they were doing. But with their tools they had in their tool belt, it was medication, medication, medication.
Right.
They weren't really trained in nutrition and diet.
No.
And I think that's a misconception a lot of people have, is they think that their medical doctor is trained in everything, and that's really unfair. I know many great medical professionals, and they even get a little frustrated because they think, gosh, patients come to us and they think we know everything, and we don't want to let them down, so we share the knowledge we have, but the reality is they're like, I don't know anything about gluten, or I don't know anything about diet, I don't know anything about nutrition, I don't know anything about regenerative medicine, I don't know anything about stem cells. Like, I go to school to learn how to prescribe.
Right.
So if you have a problem, it's important to go to someone who can offer the solution. If you're looking for medication, by all means, go to the medical doctor. I always say, if you go to a Ford dealership, you're probably going to leave with a Ford. And whether or not Ford's the best truck for you, it's irrelevant. You went to the Ford dealership.
Right.
So anyways, I just want to make sure our listeners, because I think that was so crucial. Was that hard for you to kind of make that decision from 30 years of seeing these type of doctors? Initially, was it, this is weird, this is different? Did you have any of those thoughts?
No, because my mother was always, she read Prevention Magazine, and she was always into eating more naturally. She wasn't a health food person by any means.
But it wasn't a foreign concept to you?
But no, but I was raised eating relatively healthy foods. And so, and my mother always, she was kind of an early adopter, I guess, and knew that food played a part in your, so it was not a foreign concept to me. But to make such a drastic change, it was foreign because, that meant, at that time, 20 years ago, there were very few gluten-free products available.
There was no gluten-free sections at the grocery store then? Not at all.
No. And you couldn't go out to eat, and so I just didn't go out to eat.
Looking back, would you consider, prior to meeting with Dr. Caldwell, would you consider an overall, what the average American say, like you were eating a fairly healthy diet?
Was
before?
I? I had become a vegan. So yeah, I thought I was a vegan eating all organic foods. So I was a healthy vegan, but still I was eating a lot of grains.
It was just the right substances you had to eliminate from your diet.
Right, and I was eating a lot of fruit, and with a candida overgrowth, you can't eat a lot of fruit. It doesn't mean you can't ever eat fruit and you can't add it back to your diet later, but at that point, I had to get rid of it.
Damn. So let's fast forward, right? So you had this kind of really miraculous healing, and now we're at Marigold Foods. So there's a big gap there. So
big gap. Yeah.
So how did that go from you having this discovery of, okay, I don't want to eat these foods anymore because it's damaging my body. I now have a new diet. Is that part of the process of you started making things?
That was sort of it. Yeah, it was. I mean, so many people. Well, my background's in computer science, so I have and with a math minor, so I have a scientific mind. And so I always like to study stuff. So I got to started studying nutrition. And then, of course, everyone's noticed all the changes in me and how I felt better and was able to maintain my weight, even though for years I was always up and down. I kind of got to where I was not going up and down anymore. I kind of got to the same weight.
Friends and family noticed.
Yeah, friends and family noticed. And so I ultimately was asked to teach a class at the church I was attending. And so I started teaching a class, and I also put together an online weight loss program. And at that time, I knew that, you have a mind connection too, a mind-body connection. You have to get it into your mind that you want to change. And so through my weight loss program, I taught something called, what did I call it? Will this be edited?
It'll come later. It's all good. It'll come later.
And so anyway, I taught about mind control and help people get a better self-image of what they wanted to look like. And so I started teaching these classes, and through the classes, people asked me to recommend a protein bar. Well, at that time, I didn't eat protein bars, and so I started looking around, and I didn't like what I found because you kind of at that time had two different kinds of protein bars. One, they were no sugar, but they were just filled with junk. And then the others, they were all natural, but they had 30, 60 grams of date sugar in them.
Yes, just to make them sweet.
To make them sweet. Yeah, and so, but there was nothing that was low sugar and all natural. And so the people that I was working with through my class, a lot of them were diabetics, and so they wanted, obviously something not just natural but low sugar. So I got in my kitchen and put together a protein bar, and I just used the whey protein isolate, and I use whey protein isolate because whey protein concentrate contains casein and lactose. So you want an isolate. But I also wanted something that was clean, so I was using whey protein, grass-fed whey protein isolate. And then I combined that with some good oils because I'm sure through Dr. Hewlett you've learned that there's different oils and how different oils affect your body. So I used coconut oil, and I now have some bars that have ghee in them as well. But I put these things together, took it to my friends, and they tasted it, and they're like, if you make these, we'll buy them. And so then I had to learn all about how do you do that. So I had to get FDA approval and licensing through the state. At the time I started, which was 2012, you couldn't cook things in your kitchen and sell them. You could only sell them to friends, and thankfully I had a lot of friends, but, but I wanted to expand it. And so I got the licensing, And we took a back room of our house and we converted it into a commercial kitchen.
Okay.
Because I always leave it out, but our products are obviously gluten-free. And it's just gluten-free has become such a part of my life that I sometimes...
Like that's just your norm.
Exactly. I just don't think to say it. But I couldn't find a gluten-free kitchen, commercial kitchen, because they just didn't exist back in, at that time. So I converted a room in my house into a commercial kitchen, and there we
And the rest is history, as they say. It's so hard, like you mentioned, those bars. Even when I go to the store, I'm always reading labels. I'm like, maybe the picture looks good or the name sounds good, and then I'm like, all right. So sometimes I'm there 30 minutes if it's a new one I'm trying to find it.
Exactly.
So I love that you've been able to create something that's healthy, that's gluten-free, that's fulfilling, and it's made locally.
Yeah.
Something, when I go out there today, I need snacks. Like when I'm in like go mode, I just love whatever project I'm working on, and I really don't have time, or I don't want to make time to go sit down and have a meal, but I need fuel for my body. And I love some of the ones that I tried. Saturday, they were just so good, and it gave me what I needed.
Good. Well, one thing I tell people is just kind of ignore what's on the front of a package, because people will say no added sugar, and then you turn it over onto the back and maybe they don't have added sugar, but they have date sugar or something that's a lot of sugar. So kind of ignore the front of a package and always turn it over and look at the nutritional facts label, because the nutritional facts label is what you really need to know.
That doesn't lie. That tells you what's in there.
That tells you what's in it. Yeah, so if it says, that's where you can see the real amount of sugar that's in a product. And
this was just the original one?
This was one of our first, Pure Joy. And we call it kind of a take on Almond Joy. But it's a coconut and chocolate bar. But it was one of our
And if y'all can't see here, but it's lectin-free, no junk, non-GMO, gluten-free, low sugar, lactose-free, keto-friendly, right? And this is good. This is one of the ones I think you gave me. This is really good.
It's made from grass-fed whey isolate. This one has coconut oil, and we use 100% organic chocolate that is non-alcohol. Well, I'm sorry, the chocolate is cooked. The cocos that we use are unalkalized because it retains all the polyphenols that are in the chocolate.
The good stuff. Where chocolate's good for you.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate's good for you. That's where the good stuff is.
Right.
So you have a handful of products you developed over the years.
We do.
So go ahead and share with us some of the things that you've developed.
Okay. The first things was our bars. After our bars, we decided that the keto market was really coming along, and a lot of people were asking us to create something that was not whey-based. So we came out with a keto fat bomb and these are collagen-based. So we have 5 different kinds of keto fat bombs right now.
I think those are probably my favorite. Everything that I sampled is really good, but those are really good.
Yeah. So these are our 2 top selling, the chocolate pecan crisp and the chocolate chip cookie dough keto fat bombs. And then we decided people wanted to just buy our whey, so we started packaging our whey. And our whey comes from grass-fed cows in Ireland, so the cows really are treated well. I don't know if you're familiar with the lush green fields in Ireland, but the cows really do.
How cool. I'm sure that's a whole story, maybe for another day, but just connecting with distributors and the farmers over there to be able to bring them here. I mean, it's a really testament that this is something you're passionate about, where you could find ones probably less expensive, closer, but it's not about that. It's about what's going to be the best, highest quality product. So
right, and I wanted to make sure.
I'll put this up here so it doesn't fall on the floor.
And I wanted to make sure that that the cows really were not being fed GMO grains, and so that was why I went to Ireland, because there are lots of standards there.
Isn't it crazy? Love America, right?
Right.
Love America. We're the best at so many things, but unfortunately, when it comes to some of those things like GMOs and even policies and standards of what you can do with your livestock, there's other countries that are much more stringent than our country. So, anyways.
And when it comes to dairy cattle, Ireland is number
They're
one.
up there.
Yeah, the second, I guess, would be New Zealand, but we went with Irish.
Okay.
So
excellent.
Okay, so we have our protein powders, and we came out with some flavored protein powders, a creamy vanilla, and this is what I was talking about. Does not have alkalized cocoa.
Okay.
It
the
has
chocolate.
Unalkalized chocolate. And then we also came out with some coffee drinks. And our coffee drinks, we have dairy varieties and non-dairy varieties. The dairy varieties have our whey protein isolate in them, but unfortunately, whey protein isolate doesn't make a good hot drink.
Okay.
Some people do it. Some people do mix it in with hot drinks, but personally, I find it gritty, and it also destroys part of the benefits of the whey protein. So therefore, I always drink my whey cold.
Okay.
But for the hot drink, I use collagen based, and so we have a vanilla collagen latte and a mocha collagen latte, which you can make either iced coffee or hot coffee, which I prefer.
Okay.
Yeah.
How cool. And where can someone get these products right now?
You can buy them on our website, marigoldbars.com.
Okay, we'll put a link on the bottom so you just click and can go directly.
But all of you that are local, we're sold in the Granary in Conroe, which is
right next to Incredible Pizza.
Yes.
Love it. They've been there for several years now, and my wife frequently goes there. And even if I just need some snacks for the office to replenish, I'll go by there.
Great
And so
store.
now I know, because I'm sure I've walked by them, but sometimes like you don't know there's so many options there.
Right. Some of our things are stuck back in
yeah.
the keto section, which is kind of back in a little corner there. They have all of our bars. We have 17 different flavored bars. So they have everything that we sell, they sell at the Granary.
Okay.
And we're also on Amazon.
Okay, how cool. I think it's phenomenal what you've done is following your passion, and like I said, this isn't something you went to school for. This is something that your heart was in, and as a result, you've created something not only for yourself, but that can benefit and has benefited so many. Because I know there's lots of people out there that are struggling with how to eat healthy. They're now just learning about gluten sensitivity, and they're trying to navigate their way through this whole new diet just to eat healthier.
Right.
And this is just one way that can help them. And if someone wants to connect with you through the website, can they reach out to you as well?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just fill out the contact form and ask for me, and I will respond. Yeah. And another thing is kids love our products. So not only do adults eat it, but kids don't really need a lot of sugar either. And kids love our bars.
Okay.
So a lot of smart parents are starting to give their kids.
Yes. Get them hooked on
Marigold
healthy
bars.
food. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Get them hooked. People always joke with, how do you get your kids to eat healthy? I was like, well, we brainwashed them from the beginning, where we just gave them healthy food when they were very small. Now, of course, we have teenagers and they know everything that's out there.
Right.
But in our house, we eat very clean.
Yeah. Same here.
so-
Same here.
Mary, thank you so much for the
Thank
time
you.
today. Again, just so impressed with the knowledge and passion and just what you've created here in our community. I love that it's local. As always, wish you guys the best in health and wellness. We'll put all the links so that way you can connect with both the Granary of where they're at and directly from the website if you like to order. Until then, y'all be well, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.